Well, Mad for Theme back here. Happy Sunday. Remember, every Sunday a new video. I'm afraid I've got some tough news, and I'll come on to that in a minute, and some important news, so please stick around. This is regarding the Mammoth Forum, but we are going to be adding the cab, and we're going to be adding the side tanks, and hopefully finishing the Loco off this week with what they lovingly call Loco jewellery. Things like lights and headboards and all that fancy stuff that I know not about. So lots to come. Stay tuned. But before we do that, I've got some very important news, and this regards the forum, the Mammoth show, and unfortunately my demeanour. I don't want to play the compo card here, but I am disabled. Unfortunately, even having help loading the car up for the show, my good leg gave way. And it was only thanks to Pete, Rockdoc, Richard, who's a member of the forum, and Graham, who's a member of the Lions at Stanhope Hall in Lincolnshire, that I even got in and out. So thank you so much. Now, many people came to the show only because they saw our ad on these videos, and I guess that's the power of the videos. So thanks to you who came. A special thanks to Dave, who didn't know his handle, but he's a subscriber, Brian, and Paul Gagano, who is a new subscriber. They all visited me at the show. I'm very grateful for that. But now, to the important information. I hate asking for your help. Loads of YouTubers say, like, subscribe. I'm not that kind of person. But the Mammoth Forum, my 10th year coming up, I love these guys and girls. They're incredibly supportive, but they're running on thin air. Now, I know with an internal combustion engine, you put thin air into a petrol mix, your car doesn't run. So I need your help because we are a minnow amongst sharks. So the show is running at a loss. I know people who are putting their own money out of their own pockets to keep this show going. And I'm sorry, that's not right. But there are two things I think we can do to help. Number one, please join the forum. It's free to join, no membership fees. So please like, subscribe the videos as well, because if we can increase the monetization, I personally will pledge to put the money that we make back into the forum's coffers. Now, currently we've got about $104, which is barely paying the pizzas for me and Jordan. And Jordan has also kindly agreed to throw this money back towards the forum. The only way we can make money for the forum is for you to like and subscribe. We can grow the monetization, and then we've got some money in the kitty to afford the forum to run the annual show. I'm sorry, guys and girls, it's as simple as that. So join the forum, use it or lose it, and please help us to keep it going. Before we get on to the build, let's look at your comments. Now, Gauge 3, one of our regular contributors, says you call them steam and blast pipes. The blast pipe is central in the smoke box. Now we'll do a cutaway to show you where I've gone wrong. Clearly the steam pipes are the exhaust pipes that come out of the cylinders and go into the smoke box. The blast pipe's already fitted, and that's the central component. So thank you again, Gauge 3. And finally, Ken Grubb says, the pipes that come out are also blah, blah, blah. The same thing as Gauge 3. Thanks again, Ken. You've put me right. I'm still on a massive learning curve. Thanks for correcting my nomenclature. Now this will probably be the last what's in the workshop, and I think I've bettered myself. Remember those chocks which I was particularly proud of? Well, I've got something coming up next. But this chap is basically a wooden bolt together kit that holds 94 paints. You've seen the Vallejo red, I believe. We'll show you that. And I have also bought from Temu this range. Don't know if I've shown you those. They were incredibly cheap. But this is a simple push together kit, and I've just used wood glue to stick it together. You really don't need to, because these things clip into place, but just for belt and braces, that's what I've done. Now this is my best one of the workshop items, and I'll put the details on here. Yes, of course, it's from Temu. But this is a mini bench grinder and polisher. So you get the polishing wheel, you get the grinder, and some spare sanding belts. All the tools you need, and I've got some polishing compound from Tool Zone, which are various strengths. I think this is probably the best item I could ever show, and when I want to polish up my copper chimney, as you can see, that's a little bit tarnished, I can push this on the polishing wheel and it'll come up like new. Now, before we fit the side tanks, we can finally put the cab on. Hey, Terry, get the heck out of there. What are you doing? We don't need to see him, but we do need to see the bolts down here. Now these bolts will hold the cab into position, and they bolt through the top into the footplate. Now you'll also notice there are 3 silver hex-headed bolts, 3 either side. They bolt in from underneath to hold the front of the cab into position, and once you've done that, your cab's fixed. Now my top tip is to remove the frame bracket from the Loco. Then with the posi-drive screwdriver you can get in, attach the bracket firstly, and then you can use these 3 bolts, and they're tiny, they're 5.5mm, to attach the tank support and the bracket to the Loco in one go. Now before you put the side tank on, make sure you put these heat shields in, and they fit either side. They're a loose fit and they should slide in like that. They're going to flop around a bit, but they're going to protect the side tanks from the heat from the boiler. That's all you need to do, because the side tanks will hold them in place. So with this bracket fixed in and tightened, there are 3 points, but I'd advise you to put the 4 bolts in at the front, the 4 screws in at the back, and then this has got a little bit of wiggle room, and then you can get the 4 bolts under there. Then your side tank is complete. So once the left hand side tank is fitted, there's the last bolt, there's 4 aside. It's an easy job to fit the rear side tank stretcher in. Now you will need to compress these. If there's 2 of you, it's easy. Obviously, if there's 1 of you, you'll need to put some protective covering here. But if you use this, then you can just use this clamp to pull the 2 sides together. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to ruin the paintwork. This is the last bolt in the forward tank stretchers, and they should be now held together. They're not going anywhere. Now the final part of the mechanical build is to put the reversing lever in. Now here's the reverser. I'll push it to its forwardmost point. To do this, you need to remove the cab door. I suspect this might fall out if I pull this pin. And yes, it does. So to add the reversing lever, it's very, very easy. The reversing lever bolts into the reverser. and then you just nip it up like that. Now the reversing lever pokes through a hole in the cab which we've previously fitted and bolts to the reverser assembly. I'll use my favourite King Dick tool and we just nip it up like that. Just to check, the reverser is moving fore and aft, and that is moving the reversing lever there. Perfect. And finally, hey, it moves. Look at this. Yeah, I'm having some fun here. So with all the mechanicals done, let's start on the Loco jewellery. This is a brass spectacle plate and it simply fits in here. Now the instructions say superglue. Don't use superglue. Top tip, use a beautiful PVA glue, and I've got exactly the stuff for you. And here it is. From Deluxe Materials, this is a modeller's canopy glue. It's like PVA on crystal meth or steroids. It's brilliant, and you won't see any traces of it when it dries, and there's no messy cleanup afterwards. So to further add the Loco jewellery, you may recall I 3D printed some Loco lamps. So we're going to put those on. Now all of these have codes. Now this code is code 5, express freight with at least half of stock connected to the locomotive. However, if I added a light, this would be an express passenger train. And the only reason that you'd have any more is if it was a royal train. Now, another bit of Loco jewellery is my headboard. Now, this is the Broadsman. When I was messing around with a Britannia locomotive, I had the Broadsman and the Norfolkman. I just thought, well, heck, let's bling it up a bit. And the final piece of Loco jewellery are these faux whistles. They just bolt in with a couple of small bolts. And this sublime model would not be complete without these amazing figures from Model U. So there is your driver and your fireman. And you may recall I 3D printed my faux coal load. As you can see, I've PVA'd it in so it doesn't fall off. Now this is only for show. What we'll do is we'll drop it in. Now here's a little top tip. There's no pipe work from the injector blowing this down. It's loosely fitted at the moment. I will fit this in properly. So if the injector opens, the steam, rather than blowing straight down, will blow out. And just to complete the job, we'll put the cab roof on, which should slide in there. And you'll see the brass spectacle plates here are glooped in with that same PVA glue that I showed you earlier. Well, folks, I really can't believe this. Build time, another 2 hours, so 25 hours, and for that you end up with this. I had no idea in my wildest dreams I'd get to this stage. This kit is for somebody just like me, with half of the gear and no idea. And yeah, thanks to Silver Crest, I will be following the video up with a tips and tricks video and my good, bad and ugly video. But I should round up by saying, firstly, thank you to all of you. When we started this, I had no idea the traction on this series would produce 90,000 viewers. And I'd like to see it hit 100,000, because if we can support the Mamod Forum and if we can generate a little bit more money to pass back to them to cover their exhibition, that would be my ideal. I've always said to you, this is not our series. This is your series. Coming up, hydraulic testing, running on the rolling road and running on the West Huntsville Model Engineering Society track. So this is far from over, but today is. So until next time, toot it.